Yeah. Yeah, it's like I've seen a lot of teachers that are great at that, and I've actually learned every time I do sessions in schools, I kind of try to learn from the teachers, and I've seen teachers that don't do that, and I've seen teachers that do that, and actually it's helped me to learn how to properly encourage the students.
Now, when you were growing up, I know that you, from what you've told me before, that things were a little bit, you were a little bit insecure, trying to figure out what your gifts were. You're a little bit different being in school,
right.
wanting to do positive hip hop and to DJ and things like that. What was it in your life that kept you going and gave you the courage to step out and start discovering your unique design?
It's a good question, man. I'm gonna have to think about that for a minute. Who's making coffee?
Ain't I know enough here.
Yeah, it's so there were no other DJs in my school. I was the only DJ in the school. So of course, I wasn't that accepted as far as that. No one really had a context for encouraging me in what I did. I got
some people didn't even know what DJing was.
No, absolutely not. But at home, I would make these scratch tapes where I would just press record on the cassette player. For those of you that remember cassette players, and I would just scratch on like Kermit the Frog's voice on a record, little kid record I had, and I would scratch on it and just experiment like 10, 15 minutes in a row, and play it for my mom because I didn't really have too many peers I could play for. Say, hey, does this sound like the DJ stuff you hear on the big famous artists? I couldn't really do that, so I played for my mom, how would she know what was good scratching? But she would actually sit there and listen to all 15 minutes of it and kind of tell me that it was good. And so that encouraged me. And so I'd always show stuff to my mom. So Mom, just got to send a shout out to you.
Yeah, and I know sometimes, a lot of times when you start off developing your gift, you feel alone. And I know, like, when I was starting off, I wanted to be a speaker. I've been wanting to be a speaker for years, even when I was in a former positive hip-hop group with you called the Fearless Poets. I love being able to get that little 2 minutes of speaking in at every concert that we did to inspire kids, to educate them, and to empower them. And I know periodically there were times where we didn't have as much support because people didn't understand what we were doing. In fact, hip-hop had a very negative stigma to it, and some of it still does. But what I know you and I try to do is we try to make sure that, especially when we do our Sketch by Design programs for youth, that you utilize the skill sets of hip-hop, like the rapping, the DJing, the dancing, and all those other elements, and combine them with speaking to have a spectacular presentation for the kids where they walk away saying, you know what, I'm sketched. You know what I'm saying? and that's what we want. We want kids to know that they are sketched and unique by design for a specific purpose.
Yeah, it was good to hear. You can hear kind of like the sketched thing going on after the performance was done. You'd hear kids just like shouting that out in the side, meaning they caught it. They caught the message. And so it's good well, one of the things that I appreciated about some of the performances when I was backing you up on some of the speaking engagements is that it's kind of like giving the kids a different outlook to say, actually look for differences in other people because it's probably a good thing. In fact, it is a good thing. But the natural thing for teenagers to do, I think, in my experience, is you look for differences because it's a negative thing, because now you're different, and that's and I'm different, and we're all scared of our differences. But the message of Sketch by Design kind of gives the permission in the mind state. It's a different paradigm for kids to say, look for those differences in each other because those are good things.
Yeah, and I know. Growing up, I didn't know what I was going to be doing today. I had no idea. And but one thing I do know is that for a season, I did hip-hop. For a season, I did rapping. For a season, I did TV shows. I did a TV show down in Florida for 2.5 years. For a season, I did speaking and only speaking. But I never knew that I could combine all of those things. And sometimes we have to go through an alone season where we finally get to the place we look back at our whole life and realize we can use everything right now to the advantage of serving other people. Well, we are running out of time, but I want to let all of our listeners know that I want to know your thoughts and I want to know your ideas about the things Doc and I discussed today, and I want to encourage you to participate in this discussion with us by going to Sketched by Design for Educators Group's Facebook page. There you'll be able to post your comments and ideas about the topics discussed today, as well as you will be given tools on how to better position your child or student for a successful life and career in the 21st century. For more information on DJ Doc and his DJ programs, you can go to djdoc.com. For more information about our Sketched by Design programs, you can go to lonjordan.net. Thank you for listening, and I look forward to continuing this discussion with you at our Sketched by Design for Educators Group's Facebook page.